Hello, my name is Alan Wright. I want to welcome you to my podcast today to initiate a very important conversation. Your side of the conversation can come if you go to my website, which I'll introduce in this website as well. Right now I want to tell you, I want to start by telling you why we're doing this podcast. As you can see, I'm an older fella, and many of you, I hope, are quite young, because different ones of us are going to be affected by this great danger we're facing differently. Now, I've chosen this method for my podcast, not going along with the usual AI type of podcast where people discuss using all the imagery of AI that it puts up and makes the process easy. I chose not to do that. I want this to be a person-to-person, my eyeballs to your eyeballs conversation. It's important, because I'm telling you from my heart, and from 50 years or more of being an educator at all levels, national, state, and local, and multiple states, I might add, administratively and teaching. I'm telling you that not because I'm trying to raise your sense of appreciation for me, but I want you to know I have the credentials to be doing what I'm doing in the sense of a lot of different knowledge coming from a lot of different perspectives. I came up in a working class family, and I worked really hard in a lot of different jobs, including underground mining, to get my degrees. And I haven't lost touch with that. I continue to live now in Tucson, Arizona, kind of where I began. But with that little bit of background, I now want to get to the point. You truly are in extreme danger. You are in danger. And so are the people you care about the most, your family, your friends. But it's bigger than that. Now, this is hard for you because you certainly haven't been prepared in the public education system for what I'm going to tell you right now. You're not being prepared by the media, social media, or just the classic media of television, radio, etc. I don't want to sound like a end of the world is coming kind of person, and it isn't. But the world you know is going to make a dramatic, huge change, and it's starting to happen now. And it's happening at all levels, social as well as cosmic. Now, what does that mean? What is cosmic to start with? The world as it has been explained to you since you were very, very small, the way it's been explained to you by your parents, your church people, your family and friends, public schools, maybe you've been to university, the working community. It's been filled with what I call true lies. I've been teaching about true lies for a long time now. In where I work, now I'm retired officially, and I work out of my home office, but I brought my Right Success Institute into my home office, where I am the founder, the director, and professor of metaphysics. The reason that's important is this is a metaphysical issue. It's not just psychological, it's not philosophical, it's not scientific alone. It's a combination of all these things that are coming to play in how your world is changing, and it will cost you dearly unless you prepare for it properly. Now, you may hear and see, like on places like YouTube, all these people raising alarms and talking about artificial intelligence, different things, political dangers coming from a psychopathic narcissist in charge of our government right now, with a history of crime and fraud and just all kinds of things that are scary. And I speak about, of course, our President of the United States. Now, I'm not wearing red because I'm political or blue because I'm political. I'm talking to you as an American citizen of the world. Now, why does that matter? Well, I want you to understand I don't come to this with a bias. I'm coming to you with a studied background in science as a teacher, as a lab instructor, with a physics background, with also I'm coming to you from childhood on. I did a little bit of preaching behind a podium like this one over here. I come to you from a vast background of knowledge, and I hope to share it with you right now. Now, I'm giving you a lot of preparation for this because what I'm going to tell you is rather dramatic, but it's true. Now, I hope I don't look to you like some kind of just flag waving to scare you or anything like that. But you're being lied to. You're being lied to, and throughout your life. And it's been for reasons, and not all of them bad. It's meant many times to help you. Everything from fairy tales of youth to notions of Christmas and Thanksgiving and all these things to promote patriotism and to eliminate fear as much as possible and make a good human life for you. Nevertheless, they're lies. They're true lies because you believe them. And so obviously sometimes did the people telling you that. Your parents didn't lie to you to be mean to you, but they quite often told you things that just weren't really true. And maybe they believed they were. And the same thing with very ill-prepared teachers in the public education system. Now I've worked in a lot of school districts across the country. I've taught a little in a university medical center environment. I've owned and directed corporate charter schools. I've been president of my national association. I've been on the state board for accreditation in an organization for 19 states. So I'm not speaking for you, just another person on the street throwing out some ideas. What I want to do is clarify it in a concise way for normal people that's non-based in total mathematics or total quantum physics or classical physics or chemistry or biology or any number of disciplines. I'm going to talk to you about how that all comes together in bringing the day. And I want you to think of this in the sense of a storm warning, a weather warning. Now, as an air traffic controller that I prepared for to go to Vietnam and be a combat controller, I'm going to give you a weather report right now. This is a weather warning that a storm is coming of biblical proportions. And why do I say it that way? I want you to understand that both myth, religion, and science come together here. Right now, what people are telling you about artificial intelligence, AI, is just not true. The messages are coming out in ways to make you feel a certain way, and generally that's a matter of control. The government says certain things because they want to control you into the sense of being a good citizen. Don't break the laws. Be productive. The corporations want to sell you things, and they want you to think and keep funding these things that are going into the trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars for government, trillions of dollars for these corporations. And what they're doing right now is not going to be what you think it is. Artificial intelligence is blossoming fast. It's coming to an apex. It's coming to conclusion soon, to the degree to which you are in danger. Now, how can you be in danger from that? Well, it's not just you're going to lose your jobs. It's not just that you're going to lose your sources of income and have to worry about food. It's not because most of you have serious debt And it would take, if you were out of work for 6 months, you would probably be hungry and maybe out of a place to live, an apartment or even a home, because of mortgages and the cost of living today. And this rapid escalation of how things are getting more expensive. And you add all this together, and what this, if you think of artificial intelligence as a tool, okay? It's a tool that's going to be used by a few people in very serious ways, and they're going to make normal people think, oh, this is a nice thing. You get phones, you got smartphones now, and you got computers, and you got all this stuff in your cars, and it's a good thing. It'll make life good. Well, one of the people in the country that knows more about this subject than anyone else is a fellow that just wrote a new book, and he wrote a new book, and it's basically called Utopia or Dystopia. Well, it's going to be a little of both for different people. His name is Nick Bostrom, if you're interested. Very bright, very well-known man in this field. But it is going to be a dystopia for some people and a dystopia for others. The utopia people are going to be those corporate giants of technocracy, the multi-billion and trillion-dollar corporations, and there's hundreds of them. These people are going to be living in a utopia, and they like it that way. They want it to be that way. And a lot of these people are the source of a lot of these lies, these true lies they want you to believe, because they want an earth, an environment, a world for their pleasure. They want good ocean water for their yachts. They want good air for their families and themselves and their friends. They want many exotic homes so they can travel around with weather and whatever their interests are. And I could go on and on. The point of it is, their interests are not your interests. And they don't need the same number of people in the world anymore to be consumers and to be tax sources. They're not going to need that. They're changing the entire economy to crypto. It's happening as we speak. And it isn't going to be just fun and games. The control that comes with that is not understood by hardly anyone. The way they control you through using cryptocurrencies and AI is going to be overwhelming for normal citizens, working class people, and I'm talking about all over the world. The less fortunate today at the bottom of that pyramid are going to take it the worst and the soonest. And it's going to work its way up through the lower and then the middle class and then the upper class even. Jobs are changing. AI is coming into hospitals. It's replacing nurses. It's replacing people that work in hospitals. It's coming into all levels of corporations and all different business forms. It's not just a bunch of robots that they're scaring you with to make it seem so weird. And it's not just things like are coming out in Japan and China and probably the United States with these robots that can be used for sexual purposes or whatever. So there's a lot of different ways that this information's coming to you, and it's confusing. Well, that confusion can get you in serious, serious trouble in the next months or a year or two. It's not way down the road, folks. I want you to think of this like an early warning weather system. A storm is coming, it's brewing, and if you don't take actions to prepare, you're going to be in deep trouble. Now, I'm going to do a series of these podcasts and trying different ways to get people's attention to this problem. And I'm going to try to direct you to a system of websites that I have. I have about 16 websites that I use to put people through a process where I help you in what I call the Pathfinder Project. It's free, it's private, it's confidential, it's all online. I do some Zoom. I have blogs where you can ask me questions. This is where the conversational element comes in. I want to help you understand this because it's very complex. It doesn't matter how smart you are or how, well, I'm going to use the word ignorant because that just simply means you're ignoring the reality. Doesn't mean you're dumb. Doesn't mean you're stupid. Stupid people maybe can't do it. They're just biologically or psychologically incapable. Dumb is just a refusal to pay attention. That's a form of ignorance. Now, if you want to pay attention, I'm going to make it available to you, and so you can share it with your friends and help them prepare. Because if you don't prepare, I present this problem as you're going to be either a cyborg of use to these corporate billionaires, or you're going to not be. And if you're not be, you're going to be at some level of zombieism. To them, now remember, Einstein's relativity, it's much more than you think it is. Relative to you and your life, you're going to be useless to them. What they call, Henry Kissinger called, a useless eater. You're not useful to them. You don't matter to them, no matter how much they tell you they love you and care about you and all the rest. They won't need you. They won't need to sell their products to you. They won't need your tax money. They won't need any of that because they're going to control the economy. They're going to control the forms of currencies internationally. This storm that's coming can be worse than even a nuclear attack. It's a severe form of changing the world. Now, I'm going to give you a short introduction to why this is a cosmic event. Many of you coming from a more religious background don't really necessarily like the idea of evolution. But if you could get around the fact that we are animals, we're biological beings, advanced certainly, and with extraordinary abilities to construct things and make a better world and create technology and all those things. But nevertheless, psychologists, neurologists don't spread the word very well, but they've proven that in fact, there's no such thing as consciousness. Now that's the big thing in science these days with physicists and even quantum physicists, is the study of consciousness. Here are really great academics talking about it in all the major universities because it sells. It's what people believe. But the fact of it is, you are a construct of this advanced brain. Now we call that consciousness because you say I am. Well, there's some great books that have been kind of disregarded by many, certainly not unproven or anything, disproved, that prove what I'm telling you. At some point we developed what you call a bicameral brain, the left and the right hemispheres of what you know as your brain. And you've heard stories about it at the surface level, but in fact, there are elements in your brain that talk to each other. Okay, this is the origin of schizophrenia and other things. Okay, but the concept is we create this sense of who we are. I call it a sixth super sense. In addition to what you do with, you develop knowledge, what we call knowledge, with your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your feelings. But all of those are senses, and a sixth sense is how the super sense is how they all come together and create a picture of the world, and you in it. That is who you are, and that's why Einstein didn't go quite that far in talking about relativity, but it's your sense of reality. Everybody has a different sense of reality from this human individual perspective. Now, much of it's similar, much of it's the same, but as you know, much of it's different. Different languages, different backgrounds, different living situations. All this goes to what I'm telling you. I know it's a lot to hear. You probably won't believe it all, but here's what I offer you. If you will pay attention to my next few this is my first episode. If you follow through some of my episodes, I'll get into these things much more difficult. This is introductory. And also you can come at any time to my primary website, which I'm going to tell you now, and I'll put it in the show notes, is Wright, spelled with a W, W-R-I-G-H-T, I'm sorry, I'm having a blank out here, senior moment. It's right, W-R-I-G-H-T, or wrong, W-R-O-N-G, and .com. Right or wrong, .com. Okay? Now when you do these and you don't script them and you're not using a teleprompter and all that, have all that stuff, but I want this to be you and me. You're going to have these moments where everybody wants you to be a professional podcaster and get perfect lighting, perfect sound, and all that. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm using my camera and me talking to you. Now I can do better, but this is what I think is a reasonable way to talk person to person. And I'll probably get a little fancier as we go on when I have different messages to give. But this is an introduction of you to me and these ideas. And I hope you'll have enough curiosity and care to try to follow this through for a little while, see if I'm proving myself to you, making more sense to you, and go to my website, use my blog, and ask questions, comment. Give me an opportunity to answer your questions and lead you, guide you, be a pathfinder for you to your way into preparing for this emergency. And it is an emergency. I know it doesn't seem that way. This is an actual cosmic event, because the reason I introduced a few minutes ago you to the idea of evolution is evolution hasn't all been just biological. There's an evolution at the cosmic level, and I'm going to lay another one on you to think about. Just as I'm going to tell you, there is no God, there is no universe. It's all what I call a cosmic casino. It's all about probability and possibility. And I can take you all through the levels of physics, all the way down to what's called Planck's length and Planck's level, where no mathematical formula, no physicist has ever been able to get to. There's no laboratory work at that level. It's impossible. And there's reasons for that that I can instruct you, teach you about if you're interested. But the point of that is to say, going back all the way as low into the cosmos as you can get, trillions of times smaller than an atom, and trillions of times larger than a football stadium, trillions of times larger. You get this indefinable thing we call a universe, but it really isn't a thing. It's a system. It's a process. And it goes through eternity and infinity, and it didn't have a creator, and it doesn't have an ending. Now that's a complex idea for you to get your head around, but it's true. I can prove it. No one has ever been able to disprove it when I presented this to experts. So they don't like it, but it's true. And so my point to you is, this is a good time to do what I call cradle-to-grave learning. So this is an educational presentation. It's news to a lot of you, but it could be a little self-help. It could be just educating you a bit more, because it's going to be hard for a lot of people to say, gosh, I'm going to change my whole life. I'm worried about my kids, my grandkids, my other people. Well, you should be. I hope you have those sense of feelings for others. I hope you do. But think of yourself first. You can't be any good to anybody else if you don't take care of yourself. Now, the reason I'm doing this for free, I'm going to give you a little more information and I'm going to end this thing. I don't want to make it too long. But this, again, is conversational. It's not scripted, and I didn't set a certain time limit. I'm old. I'll be 78 in a few days. Okay? I have an aortic root aneurysm right where I'm sorry, I'm tired. Right where your vessel comes up out of your heart and then feeds the rest of your body. Well, yours is about as big as in diameter as my thumb. Mine's about the size of my wrist and your wrist, and it's like a bubble, and it's already burst almost all the way through. They call it a dissection. It went through 2 layers of the 3 layers of your aorta. And it slowed me down a lot. But they put me on what do they call it when they put you in a place and think you're going to die? I can't think of the word for it right now. But hospice. And they put me in hospice and I got out of it. But 6 different surgeons have said they can't help me, and just they don't believe I'm even alive now, and there's nothing they can do. It's too complicated for a lot of reasons. Some aneurysms they can fix. They fixed one under one of my legs. They fixed one down near my kidneys. I don't want you to, I'm not telling you to feel sorry for me or anything. I'm trying to tell you, I have a sense of urgency as well to let you know this is happening. I want this to be my legacy of trying to help people both learn and have better, more productive and fun lives. If you don't find a pathway to be useful to these giants of industry in this transformational, okay, you can call it transhuman, hybridization of humans. You don't understand that Neanderthals didn't think they were ever going to go away either. And now it's humans' term. The humanity as you know it is going to change. We are living in an epochal period of time. Who can understand that? You can't even imagine it. It's much more serious and severe than when your parents or grandparents, as mine did. My grandparents spent their honeymoon on horseback out in the desert, just having a honeymoon around a campfire. Okay? Now think about coming from there to jet planes and rocket ships and AI and all the rest of it. That's pretty dramatic, but it's happened over a period of time. The change I'm telling you right now is more like an earthquake. It's more like just a weather tragedy. I like that as a metaphor. It's going to be like these hurricanes that hit you, and people will just say, oh, I can stay and sit out, or I can stay through a tornado and nothing will happen, or a giant flood. One of the jobs I did for a while was helping FEMA when they had the floods and the hurricanes in the southeast mostly. I went there as a home inspector, nationally certified, to help people get back into their homes. I know a lot about all that. I saw a lot of things you wouldn't even want to think about or wouldn't believe. And I want to warn you, like a weather warning. You better pay attention, folks. Consider this like boarding up your windows or stocking up on food or looking for a higher ground. This is that serious. But those things won't work for this. You have to change the way you see things and the way you do things. And I can help you through it if you give me the chance. So I invite you again to rightorwrong.com, right with a W. Or I hope you'll join me in my next few podcasts. I'll get them out as quick as I can to kind of give you more details around these ideas. Okay? Be thinking cyborg or zombie. It'll be like you'll be out of a home, out of job, hungry. Your world's going to be upside down, and that's very dangerous. There'll be a lot of increased crime, just confusion and confusion, confusion, confusion. When I came back from Vietnam, I worked with a lot of helicopters involved in riots and protests. This was 1968, so you'll know what I mean. And I've seen chaos, and this is going to be a type of chaos. I would love to talk to you more about the chemistry and the history, the psychology, the philosophy, the mythology of all this, as well as the physics and mathematics if you're interested. I'm very interested in ontological mathematics. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you stayed with me, and I hope to see you again. Alan Wright, Professor Wright of the Wright Success Institute. I'm talking to you from Tucson, Arizona, just a few days after Memorial Day. and I'll get to the next one as soon as I can. That's all for now. I'm going to try to post this thing. I do all my own stuff to get all this stuff done and get it out in the airwaves the best I can. Good luck to you. For now, adios. Vas con Dios. See you later.